Peace and greetings, everyone. It's Christina from Witches and Company, and today I'm going to do a video on the 13th zodiac. That's becoming more popular, and it's really being passed around, and people are starting to think, their zodiac's changing and things like that. I'm not into debunking people's beliefs, but sometimes they need to be addressed because they don't need to be carried into the future if they are not valuable information and things like that. So I decided I'd do this video, hopefully give someone some understanding on how the universe works. So first, when it comes to the universe, there's a study of astronomy, and the study of astronomy is about the planets. It's about the sun, the moon, the stars, and where they are in the universe. And then the stars form and make a constellation. The constellation is where we get a lot of our fairy tales and mythology stories from. They come from the constellations. So in the universe, we have the universe, right? And then the planets make a circle around the sun or around the planets, and then the stars are all through. So each planet would see the constellation differently. So the constellation is more calculated from Earth. So the constellation is more about how the stars are aligned from Earth and what they're telling based on the angle and the movement of the Earth and how it changes, through the universe. And that's about, astronomy and things like that. And then in astrology, we deal with the natal chart. And the natal chart is the cycle that these planets are orbiting. So these planets are orbiting around the natal chart. So the natal chart would be more like a two-dimensional line, and then the 3D would be the universe. And so this captures the way the planets are aligned at a specific time. So astrology is calculating the specific planetary alignment at a specific time. So it's dealing with the time and the moment and the second, and things like that. So then we have the astrology wheel, and a good bit of information is that although it takes 1 year for the Earth to go around the sun, it takes Saturn about 28 plus or minus years to have one birthday, because of time, and that it's further out, so its orbit is a little bit longer or a lot longer. And then Pluto is like 200 and something years to make a complete rotation. So this just gives us an understanding once we go into astrology. So in astrology, we have the natal chart, and a lot of our laws come from the natal chart. It fits right into math and everything like that. We have the laws of the universe, the law of gender, the law of sex, the law of attraction, the law of opposition, and the law of polarity. And those are the two laws. The law of opposition, and that we'll be dealing with today, is that main law, and how we fit that into astrology. So in astrology, we have the law of opposition. Each zodiac, the sun travels around, and it spends 30 days in each zodiac. So 12 pieces of the pie, or 12 zodiacs times 30, gives us 360, which is the where we get our protractor and things like that out to make the complete circle, 360 and things like that. So we have this natal wheel, the wheel. So the sun spends 30 degrees in each zodiac house. So these are houses, and the sun spends 30 degrees, giving us that 360. And this gives our 360 days of the year. But we do have 365, and that is because time cannot be precisely calculated. And if you notice, like around Christmas time, the winter solstice, time changes and things get slower, and then they feel like they're speeding back up. So it's 360 plus or minus, because it can't be precisely calculated, and it would be over, because to 360 to make just the days would be like here, and then it would end and leave a gap. So it would have to be plus or minus. So then we have the law of opposition, and the law of opposition is half of 360, which is 180 degrees. So each zodiac sign has a opposition or a polarity. So I know that some people may or may not have heard that. You can look it up and stuff. So each zodiac has a opposition. And that is shown with the moon cycles, because the new moon that just passed was in Libra, because we are in Libra season. So the new moon will always be in the zodiac house we are in, and then the full moon will be in the opposition. So the new moon was in Libra, and our full moon will be in Aries. And this is how the law still applies to that. So the law of opposition is everything. It's the, light versus dark, the negative and positive, the good versus evil. This law is the universal law of opposition. So then I thought, okay, what's a new zodiac? So the first question I asked, what house does it belong to? What planet does this zodiac govern? And what is its opposition? And I've been asking that question for a few years now. Every time I'm introduced or given this information, it's like those questions have never been answered. So if it's 13th zodiac, what's the opposition? And so I printed out a 13th chart just to show you guys, because we need to see this, because it's not okay to, not only believe things, but why do we believe them? We believe that they lied to us about zodiacs, and they lied to us about math. And so now we're going to put in a 13 zodiac and then just throw away math like it doesn't matter, when math is the foundation of everything in the universe. So we have to keep math. So 360 degrees or 380 degrees of 360 from this just doesn't add up and doesn't make opposition. So then I decided, what could it be? So every time I looked it up, all I kept finding was that it was constellations. It was constellations. It was constellations. So when I studied the mythology story behind the constellation, I kept getting stories about a snake. So when I think of the snake in fairy tales and things like that, I see the snake shaped like this, and then this dollar sign, right? So this is a popular symbol, and I'll do a video, guys, on this, because this equals this, and this, when written, is called sine, and then when it's written in an equation, it's just called sin. So I'll do a video on that, on how that all works together with the story with, the Bible and the snake, and we fell into sin and what sin means and stuff like that. And then I also thought about maybe they were trying to incorporate the 12 disciples plus Jesus, because a lot of people come to the conclusion that the 12 disciples represent the 12 zodiac houses. And, that's true. But then when I look at those stories, it's a story of two brothers. And those two brothers represent Gemini, making Jesus the 12th, the sun, the 5th house. So, therefore, that went out the window. And then also, I thought maybe it's the story of the Chiron, which also deals with the healer and the snake and this healing symbol. Because, the doctors also, this is the Hippocratic oath that the doctors make an oath to. That's the same symbol and stuff like that, the snake from the Bible. So I thought maybe the Chiron. So if you guys want to study the Chiron and stuff like that. But the point of this all is that when we get new information, like, we really have to understand it before we're passing it on. When it came to these new zodiac dates, they basically had Scorpio for like 4 or 5 days, so 5 degrees, and then they had the other one. And then I have seen these astrology charts with this wheel, and I'm confused on, they must not even understand how the house works itself to just give Scorpio a couple days. So you can't just add a 13th and then chop off most of Scorpio, you would have to take away from all of them to make it plus or minus. You can't take from one side and then not take from the other. So we know in math, if you add on one side, you subtract on one side. These are not met when we're dealing with astrology. And then that brings us to that it just doesn't fit to make a complete force of the chart to then break the 13 down into force. It just doesn't work. So I hope that this really gave someone some great understanding. If you want to learn astrology, be sure to check out my website. I have an 8-week course. Really goes into the foundation of astrology so you can really utilize it in your life. Or if you want to get your natal chart read, anything like that, make sure you guys subscribe. Please subscribe. Please share this video, like, comment, stuff like that. Thank you guys so much.